Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Batcave, a series of fast-paced 30-minute political shows aimed at opening the eyes of America to what is currently taking place in our country. I'm your host, Batmobile, and our guest today will be Bridget, a conservative actress, writer from Southern California who will be sharing with us her views about the entertainment industry and how she feels they have been using their influence to drive home the liberal agenda. Welcome to the show, Bridget.
Hello, Bat. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. Now, Bridget, can you tell us a little about your background in the entertainment field?
Sure. I studied communication and entertainment at USC. I've been involved in acting. I took courses at USC in theater, as well as plays and films I've done since then. I was a production assistant at the Jim Rome is Burning show on ESPN. So I've kind of done a bunch of different stuff.
Excellent. Now, you also took a communication and entertainment course where the documentary titled Outfoxed was shown to convey how Fox News is not a reputable news outlet. Can you tell us a little about it, and what are your thoughts about it as far as, the fact that they're misleading the message that they're, when they were trying to send to people?
Yeah, well, like you said, it was a communication and entertainment course, and the week this film was shown was the news week, so of course that gives license for the professor to screen a documentary where, it's called Outfoxed, and actually the entire title is called Outfoxed, Rupert Murdoch's War on Journalism. So that, tells you a lot right there. I went to their website, and the tagline says, Outfoxed examines how media empires led by Rupert Murdoch's Fox News have been running a race to the bottom in television news. So it was, of course, the most left-leaning documentary that you could imagine, out to smear Fox News. It was financed, and I didn't find this out until I looked it up just recently, by MoveOn.org. So that, George Soros-backed organization, how convenient, and shown in a university. But basically, the documentary, had a lot of out-of-context snippets of news clips edited to, fit whatever they were trying to say about Fox at that moment, or,
That's interesting. What year was that movie? Do you remember?
It was screened in our class in 2005, I believe. I think it had just come out.
Okay, so this is a while back.
2004. Yeah. But, it was planting those seeds. So how convenient then, like the election coming up, you don't trust Fox News,
Right.
So it all works to their advantage. But the best part about the documentary was how previous employees were interviewed, and they had blacked out shots of them so that you couldn't show their identity. So I thought that was really, it's always anonymous sources that are saying all these horrible things about, the organization, how they were pressured to say certain things, or they couldn't talk about other things, and I just thought that was really convenient.
I'm sure it was. What do you think about anti-American dream movies such as Revolutionary Road and American Beauty? I mean, do you think what kind of message do you think they're trying to send to people with those movies?
Well, I've seen both those movies, and they're really entertaining, and cinematically they're beautiful. They both have great style. They're both by the same person, actually. Sam Mendes did both those movies, but they're identical in their message, and in the most simplistic way of recapping the plot, kind of, it's like basically capitalism leads to death. seriously, in both films, the protagonist is dealing with their struggles of, working and balancing their home life, and this leads to all this kind of chaos, and then in the end, in both films, a character dies as a result of this. So, it's the same message that Mr. Mendes, I guess, is trying to push. And I looked a little bit into him. He's actually from the UK, and on his IMDb profile, it gives a little background of his family life. And his parents divorced when he was 5 years old, so he comes from a broken home. He's from England.
Right.
He comes to America and makes movies, slamming the American dream, while he's hypocritically benefiting from our system. Isn't that such a leftist thing to do? Just sit and point their finger at you while they're...
Yeah, it's basically the same message as Michael Moore. People like that who they're abusing the system, they're taking for themselves, but then trashing it, in their movies. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, how Michael Moore recently, with all that was going on in Wisconsin with the union, and he was all on that, saying how there's plenty of money in this country. It's just, in the hands of the same billionaires, as he's simultaneously fighting a lawsuit with his documentary that he, wasn't given $20 million, some, just piddly old amount like that. He's fighting over $20 million that he is owed on top of what he's already gotten from the movie. So I can't even imagine how much he's worth. And then he's sitting and, for the working man. It's just
right.
Insane.
Total hypocrites. Well,
yeah.
That's what the communists are. They're just liars and hypocrites, and they're just out to steal.
Yeah.
Well, as far as they're obviously using the green agenda, to try to get their message through, which is, it doesn't make any sense. But this, the green agenda with the worshiping Mother Earth theme that we've seen. I mean, your generation, they've endured childhood propaganda cartoons such as Captain Planet, Fern Gully, Pocahontas. What do you think of that green message that all those shows are trying to convey? Do you think those cartoons led to movies of today, like Avatar, for example?
Yeah. I watched all those films growing up. I enjoyed, one you mentioned, Captain Planet was a television series. Pocahontas and Fern Gully were films. But
right.
I enjoyed all those growing up, watched them a bunch of times. And it's funny because now I watch them today, who I am today. I look back and I feel totally taken advantage of. I see the undertones of the message, and it's just complete propaganda. It's amazing when you look back on it how this, and here's my mom, my dad buying me these movies, taking me to see these movies, not, thinking, oh, there's a hidden message, a hidden agenda behind it. And, back in the 90s, I don't think, there was environmentalism, of course, back then, but it wasn't like how it's become in the 2000s where, there's actual political implications and, businesses are affected and everything. So you didn't really see how it was going to play out. It was just kind of like, oh, these green hippies, whatever. But so, all these little seeds planted in the minds of the youth at a young age, how we, can't cut down trees like in Fern Gully. It's like the evil person was the pollution coming from the guys cutting down the trees, so they're trying to ruin the rainforest and all those similar types of things. And then here, just recently we had Avatar, like you mentioned, and it's really sad, actually, if you remember the stories of kids going to see the film and they were so depressed that I forget what the planet's called, but that it didn't exist. That wasn't real, and it just goes to show how I really hope this isn't true about my generation, but we've just suspended ourselves from reality. We absorb everything that people tell us, so that's scary because the media obviously has an agenda, and that they are engaging in such escapism that they would be depressed that the planet doesn't exist in the movie Avatar, you know? So. And
they make out the basically the capitalists to be, you know, the bad guy, you know, the evil bankers, and you know, this is all you see in Hollywood plots. At some point, people have to realize that, you know, you can't blame the system that was successful for over 200 years in America, you know.
And
people
once again, aren't the movie makers capitalists? I mean, while they're literally trying to get in as many viewers as possible to make as much money as possible, you know, it's just the whole thing is a big hypocrisy. And for some reason, people on the left or people who just buy into all of this can't connect those dots. They can't see how, like, you know, they'll sit there and say, yeah, it is bad. It's, you know, dirty capitalists, yet they're engaging in the system. So.
Yeah, you know, and it's a like you said, it's a hypocrisy. You know, where they would. How do you feel about the fact that they actually fail to support conservative-themed films like Waiting for Superman, which wasn't even mentioned in last year's Academy Awards, and it was a great film.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's expected. It's not surprising at all. I really think it's more of like an indication of the mindset of these people. You know, truth and facts are not enough to get through them. You know,
right?
So it's really a reflection of their mental capacities. They're the Hollywood elite, and you know, the film, the documentary you're referencing, Waiting for Superman, was actually it's not like some conservative did this documentary about the public school system. It was actually David Guggenheim who made An Inconvenient Truth. Okay,
so the Al Gore movie.
Yeah, so he, you know, and we remember how Al Gore got the award at the Oscars that year, right? And then so the same filmmaker goes and he was going into it with his liberal mindset, and he came out now I don't know if personally he's changed who he is. I haven't really seen stories on that, but I know just from like reports of film critics who spoke with him that he went into the film expecting a certain outcome of what he was going to find, which would be, you know, kind of the liberal message of pour more money into the public school system, you know, all the things that they're pushing with the system.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like an accidental truth he probably discovered. It was,
exactly.
You know, they probably set out to destroy the conservatives, and all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, the truth is coming out. What is this? And they probably went with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, that's not enough. That's not enough for Hollywood to embrace the film, even though it's one of their own making it who came to this conclusion with no agenda, or at least, you know, that would be going against what would be his agenda. So they can never get past their ideology. It's just, I think it's just all too personal.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Bridget? This is not new to Hollywood because, you know, you're a filmmaker, so you probably know about Orson Welles. Orson Welles, when he did Citizen Kane was about William Randolph Hearst, who was a big newspaper man, you know, a big publisher out in California. And it was basically, you know, loosely based on his life. And when he saw that, he didn't like that. And Orson Welles was blackballed for the rest of his career. He never worked with an A budget in Hollywood. So, you know, if you rub people the wrong way, that's the problem with the system. You know, it needs to be changed from within. People have to say, look, we've been supporting the wrong side for a long time. It's time to change it, you know.
Well, it's hard, too, because, I mean, even at USC, they have this whole, it's called the Black Garden, and it's to pay tribute to all the people who were blackballed in the 50s and 60s, but for a different reason, because they were, you know, alleged communists. So, of course, now these people are lifted up and they're heroes, where they can't see that they're doing that exact thing, except it's, are you a conservative? Ooh, I don't like that message too much. That sounds like, you know, you may vote Republican or whatever. It's going against my liberal message. So you're blackballed. They don't even see how, like, they're doing the exact same thing to an ideology that doesn't fit their worldview. But, I mean, it's really hard. I don't know. I mean, with the Internet, you can do a lot more now. You can put your things out there and kind of self-finance and be able to get some traction because of that. But, I mean, we saw with Atlas Shrugged how no big studio wanted to do it, even though...
Right, because it was the message did not fit their agenda, that's why.
Yeah. But even though the book is, you know, according to the Library of Congress, is the second most sold book after the Bible in the United States. That,
wow.
You know, if you're coming just from a money perspective, that kind of tells me, I could maybe make a lot of money if I support this film and make it, you know, make it good, and I bet a lot of viewers will come out to see this, and it could go down as a classic, you know. But instead, no one wanted to touch it, so it took the filmmaker financing it himself. You know, it's not like an A movie. You know, it has like a kind of like a C cast almost, because there are no named people other than Bob Beckel's brother. That's the only person I recognize, and a few others. Where I've seen him in certain things, but I don't know him by name, you know. But that's the result you get, is you're not going to get a really well-done film, unfortunately.
Well, we can hope that maybe little by little, you know, they start changing their attitude as more information starts getting out. Didn't David Mamet recently go on an interview with Rush, and he started saying how he hadn't even met a Republican until he was 60?
Yeah, that kind of tells you the bubble that they're in. Until he was 60 years old, he had never met a Republican. That's incredible.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, he was from Chicago and then, you know, got into Hollywood. So where are you going to find a Republican?
I don't know, it's the whole California mindset that needs to change, because, you know, you kind of wonder, is it the state of California that has this mindset, or is it the entertainment field that's spreading this mindset to them? I mean, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me. But it's been there for years. Don't think this is new. The media has been, you know, leaning to the left, to the far left, for ages. I mean, we're talking, you know, 40, 50 years at least.
Yeah. Well, it may, you know, little glimmers of hope are that, and it's interesting that you tie the state of California with the industry, because those no longer are mutually exclusive. Now, since California's regulations are so impeding upon their business, they're actually flocking to other states like New Mexico, other countries, and especially in New Mexico, they're trying to build studios there and create, you know, smaller kind of versions of Hollywood. So if that continues to happen, which I'm pretty sure it will, since we have Governor Brown in right now, you know, it's not like it's going to go the opposite direction. We're going to lose the industry of Hollywood, because they have to go where they're getting incentivized, where they have tax incentives to be able to produce these films and make money off of them. So, you know, things may change because they're going to different states. They may be more, you know, open to different topics possibly, or I don't know.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but you're right. If they go to different areas and they start shooting movies and it's completely outside of the Hollywood base, it might depend on, you know, the area or the people financing it.
Right.
You know,
it's no longer that bubble. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, there is hope. And, you know, we can't think that just everybody in Hollywood is closed-minded, you know, to the conservative message, because I read recently that Demi Moore and her husband both defended Sarah Palin over this media frenzy caused by all the emails of hers that were being made public, you know. And speaking of Governor Palin, they're going to be releasing a new documentary about her this July in theaters, which, you know, hopefully that may open a few eyes to people as to, you know, whether these attacks on her have been, you know, valid or not. Yeah. What do you think?
I heard AMC has the exclusive rights to her film. I'm really excited about that. I hope it just, like, makes so much money that the movie makers, you know, they have to look at that and go, wow, maybe there is, you know, this huge group of people that we're alienating and we're not paying attention to, you know. So I really hope that kind of turns their heads and so that they could see there's this whole demographic, kind of like the majority of the American people, you know. that they should make movies for. But you mentioned the Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher tweet that went on. I read the tweet. I'm not totally convinced that they weren't defending Sarah, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think Demi Moore prefaced it with, although I don't agree with Palin at all and I don't like her. It's something like that. She said then that the media and their attention to her emails was really sickening. And I think you'd literally have to have your head in the ground to not view that as sickening, because the media, they're like, I don't know, they're like children in a candy store, or like dogs, rabid dogs with a piece of meat or something. They expose themselves so much with this email fiasco. It was incredible to me. Like, they just totally had no regard for their identity. And it seems like they don't have regard to hide the fact that they're totally biased anymore. And that was the biggest example I've ever seen, where they just, they were putting it out there, hey, people help us.
But think about it. Isn't that really a plus for the American people, because they can actually see and say, oh my God, look, it's the media. Look at these lies that they're saying, and maybe people's eyes will open.
Yeah.
You know
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the Demi Moores and Ashton Kutcher's minds are changed necessarily, because they pledged their allegiance to President Obama. I don't know if you ever saw that film clip of all those Hollywood people saying that they pledge to President Obama their service. That was really creepy. But so I don't know if their minds are changed.
I'm sure that not everybody continues to believe that message when they're seeing what's happening to our country. A good question would be, what would you do if you were inside the business? What would you tell people to try to say, hey, look, maybe we've been lied to all these years, the people on the left. How would you change the people from within the industry? How would you go about it?
I don't think I would ever go about it in the way where I'm pointing to specific, political figures like Barack Obama or, others, because I'm actually reading Ann Coulter's book Demonic right now. It's really good.
Okay.
And she makes the point that, conservatives never worship their political leaders, because they actually have a Messiah. His name's Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
When you're on the left, a lot of them are godless, and even if they're not godless, they don't, they're buying into kind of new age religions. So it's like we're all one. There is no real God. God's within us all type sort of thing. So they actually worship people, and that film clip with all the stars in it pledging to President Obama was an example of that to me. They were worshiping him, oh, Obama, I will do whatever you call me to do. So
Is that any different than those clips that we saw of the children with the Barack Hussein Obama, which is totally repulsive,
Yeah. Oh.
The manipulation.
Completely. It's like Chairman Mao. It's sickening how people don't see that that's the same thing. Why are you worshiping a human being like that?
That's wrong.
We're so proud of. They would be the first to say they're so proud that we have a democracy, and they always call the United States a democracy. A democracy instead of a republic.
A republic, yeah.
Yeah, but
that's the mindset that they've created. That we all think it's a democracy, but it's not. It's a republic.
Yeah. Well, and they would be the first to say that they're so proud of it. Yet, they get their first chance to have a cool person in office. They're worshiping them as if he's King Obama, as if this is a monarchy. So I don't know how you snap those people out of that. I don't know how I would go about necessarily changing their mindset when they're on that level. I think what I would I would just stick to who I am, and I would try my hardest not to conform to kind of liberal messages, as
Right.
as much as I could.
Have you ever shared your conservative views with other, other friends, peers in the business?
Yeah.
Let them know. Yeah.
Most people, I would say, are actually really nice, and it's probably because I've been involved in more like low-key sort of things. I've never been in like a feature film or anything like that with my acting. But everyone, I love in that environment because you get this really eclectic group of people from all different walks of life, and everyone's really interesting. And so I always have a lot of fun, with the cast and crew, and you talk about a lot of different things because you have downtime, and so you do get to kind of get into personal things sometimes. I have with a cast member mention that, I was conservative, and he didn't really open up to me about what he was. He was young. He was like early 20s. So
that's the influential age.
Yeah. So I could tell that he was like happy that he found like another conservative, but he wasn't necessarily admitting that he was one.
Okay.
But I don't see hostility towards conservatives. I only see it in the end results in the movies or or when they're interviewed on TV. You know what I mean? But I feel and once again, I haven't dealt with these A-list celebrities, so I don't know what they're like.
When you see them supporting the liberal view on TV, sometimes you wonder, are they doing that just to save their careers? Are they afraid of themselves getting blackballed if they speak out,
Yeah, that's a good point. That could very well be the case. I mean, I know, like, Tom Hanks has come out, what was that series he did? It was on World War II.
Yeah, I remember it was on HBO. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, and
was it Pacific or something?
The Pacific, yeah. And he he was coming out, saying a lot of things, and then Bill O'Reilly, they had that whole little feud going on. But he was really like, I think the case is he's having to pump up the series that he's a part of, and I think he was a part of the making of it as well. So that, definitely influences how he's talking about it and going out there and pumping it up to a specific audience. So, yeah, it's hard to say what they really truly believe in their personal lives because it is caught up in the entertainment value of it and, the money-making.
And think about
aspect.
Isn't it really a shame that they can't really speak their mind in a free country? I mean, that's the sad part.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. That's one of those industries where you don't want to put your name out there as a conservative. I mean, I don't know where they're coming from, if they're like a middle-of-the-road liberal or whatever. I don't know if that's even possible. But I know as a conservative, I definitely don't want to wear that on my sleeve. It has to be something that's kind of – because I have to work with these people. I don't have another option necessarily. So
well, we can hope that little by little they start to get the conservative message because it's all over there. It's all the media, the way that they're just going after conservatives. If that isn't a wake up call to people, I don't know what will be.
Right.
All right, Bridget. We're going to have to let you go because we're running out of time. But we'd like to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your views on the entertainment industry's left-leaning agenda. And how there still may be hope out there, if as long as they find the truth about politics. So thanks for being with us, and good luck to you. You're going to have a bright future.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the show.
Great. Remember, everyone, we can't take back our country alone. We need the help of people whose voices can be heard, such as those in the entertainment industry. We have to wake them up and let them realize that the freedom our current administration is taking away from the American people doesn't just affect you and me, but it affects them as well. Without their help, we will be a country divided. So speak up, America. And Hollywood, we need you to listen. Until next time, this is Batmobile, and you've been with us in the Batcave. God bless.